I wanted to share with you a few things that for me as a content creator are a deal breaker, and they are the reason why I will return my S22 Ultra, because these things that I'm going to tell you, they are just not acceptable for someone who wants to create content. So overall, let me say, it's a really great phone, and as you would expect from a phone this price, it's really amazing. It works really well and it's really a great experience. I really enjoyed the One UI experience, and I think it's more exciting than iOS. But what interests me especially, it's how you can use the phone for social media and for creating and sharing content. And so even though it's huge, it's more narrow than the iPhone, so still it's a better grip than the iPhone 13 Pro Max, for example, but it's still a huge phone. And if you are buying this phone, you cannot use it with one hand, even though on One UI they made a lot of things in the software to make it easier to use one-handed. But overall, like when you're typing or when you are just navigating online, it's really not great experience because the phone is so huge you cannot use it with one hand. When I put the phone in my pocket, I'm really scared that it's falling out of the pocket, because if I bike, or for example if I sit on a machine at the gym, the phone would slide and just fall out of the pocket. So that was also something annoying, is that you really lose the practicality of having a compact phone. And at the beginning it was not annoying, but after some time it's frustrating to always have that big phone with you. It's something you have to think about. Another thing I noticed about usability is that I have a wireless charger, and when I want to charge my phone, usually I put it on charge in the evening before going to bed. And the next morning, what would happen, like half of the time, is that the phone didn't charge. I don't know why. And it's really frustrating, because when you are leaving your phone in the evening at 10% and you come back in the morning and it didn't charge, it's really so annoying. And that's why the MagSafe chargers from Apple are really a good thing, because the magnet allows you to secure the phone and be sure that it's charging overnight. So Samsung has a good ecosystem. I have the Galaxy Buds Pro and it worked really good, like amazing experience, good sound quality, and it connects really good to the phone. Even though I use lots of Google services, it was pretty easy to come around. But yeah, for example, I have a HomePod Mini and I cannot play my music on my HomePod Mini, so that's kind of annoying because I don't want to change the speaker. I like my HomePod and I use it often to watch movies on my Mac. That was kind of annoying that I cannot listen to my music on my HomePod. But now comes the real deal breaker for me, and it's the social media quality. I made a few videos about the subject and I reviewed in detail the quality on Snapchat and Instagram. So if you want to check these videos, they will be linked. But let me tell you that, okay, they worked on the social media problem. Like if you take pictures, you're going to be fine. Even though it's different from the iPhone, it's still a good quality and it's totally usable pictures. But when it comes to video, it's just not working. When I put so much money into a phone, I want to be able to share the pictures I take with my phone, right? But if you use Instagram, for example, and you want to post a story, let me tell you, if it's a video, it's not going to be good quality. And especially if you use filters, it just looks like you have a mid-range phone. And even an iPhone SE has better quality on social media. So for me, at the beginning, it didn't bother me that much. But as I said, it's good to have a long-term perspective. And after a few months, it starts to be annoying, and it's this thing that you have constantly on your mind that, oh, I wanna share this. Oh no, but the quality, is it going to be good or not? I don't know. And then you just think about this. To me, the more friction there is between creation and sharing, the more annoying it is. I think that you need to have as least friction as possible, and simply you need to be able to just express what you have in your mind directly, create it in a video format and share it directly. Like, there should be no friction. It should be as fast as possible, just to allow you to concentrate on the artistic side and on the creative side, and not having to worry about other factors like quality. It's just annoying. So, and the other thing I noticed is that there are a lot of bugs and glitches. So I know that you have them too on iPhone. Let me tell you, I never experienced so many glitches as on my Samsung. So that for me is a deal breaker, because if it's not working, especially for a phone at this price, it should be working very smoothly. That was the biggest deal breaker for me. There are not so many bugs in the One UI itself, but it's especially on social media, on Instagram and on TikTok, that I noticed all these bugs. And then, of course, there is consumption vs creation. So actually, I will have a discussion about this in my podcast. So stay tuned for that. But when you have a phone this big, it just makes you consuming a lot of content just because the screen is beautiful and it's huge, it's immersive. Like, when you open an app, you just completely absorbed by the content, and you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and watching videos. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you are a content creator, you should create more than you consume. And I don't think that the Samsung S22 Ultra allows you to create more than you consume. I think it's more a phone for people who actually consume content, and it's for people who want to watch movies and series, who want to read blog articles, who want to game. So it's more a phone for pleasure, like entertainment, rather than a phone for productivity and content creation. And it's a pity, because when you look at the Samsung advertisement, they mainly advertise it for productivity, especially like with the stylus, they present it as a productivity tool, but actually it's not really a productivity tool, and you end up consuming more than you create. Or at least that was my case, and I just wanted to share that, because if you buy this phone for being productive, maybe you should not, because this phone will make you consume a lot of content. And the last part I wanted to mention is the advertisement. So the advertisement of Samsung compared to the advertisement of Apple. I'm an Apple user since the iPod Nano. So I'm very used to the Apple ecosystem and the Apple advertisement. And I know that when Apple advertises something, it works. Like, if they say something in the ad, you buy the phone and you can do it 100% of the time. So that's great, But on Samsung, it's not exactly the same, because when they advertise something, it's very exaggerated. And when you want to use the feature in real life, it doesn't work as good as in the advertisement, So for example, even though the cameras are really good, when they say about nightography, like we revolutionized the night photography, it's not a revolution at all. I mean, yes, it takes good pictures, but compared to last year, it's not a huge improvement, like revolutionary, It's very amplified. I think that's also something to consider, is that at least for me, in my experience, there is a little gap between what you expect from the advertisement and what you get when you purchase the product. Compared to on the Apple side, there is no gap. Like, when they say something in the advertisement, you buy the product and it just works like in the advertisement, and there are no surprises, So that's also something I wanted to mention. The long-term review of the S22 Ultra made me realize that this phone is just not for me, and I don't recommend it for creators or for people who want to create content, but I can recommend it for people who want to watch a lot of movies or videos, or who want to take pictures but not necessarily share them, because the cameras are still amazing. I mean, they are better than the iPhone 13 Pro camera for sure. like in daylight and in night. It's crazy good. The selfie camera, let me tell you, it's crazy, much better than on the iPhone. It's so sharp and detailed. It's just amazing. But the problem is that when you want to share it, you lose that quality, and you can't share the real quality with others. So that's a bit annoying. But if you are not someone who shares a lot on social media, then go for it. As it was my daily driver, I had to change it, and I decided to go back on iPhone. But I decided to go for a smaller phone because, as I said in the beginning, these huge phones, they are just not usable one hand. And if we put things into perspective, not long time ago, 4-inch screen was already big. So I decided to go with. So I will post a review soon on this channel, so subscribe to not miss it. And let me know in the comment what you think about the S22 Ultra, if you have it, and how is your experience with it. Okay, see you in the next video, and thanks for watching. Bye.